And what is going on, guys? My name is Curry Tech and welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, we're going over the top 5 best pre-builds of 2021. This list consists of pre-builds from Best Buy and Amazon as I've been looking around for PCs that for people that don't want to build their own PC, or just they're a little scared to build their own PC and they just want something that works right out of the box, which is totally understandable, especially in this market of GPUs where they cost over like $400 for the low tier ones. Yeah, getting a pre-built right now in 2021 is probably your best bet still, as graphics card prices have come down, but they have not come down to MSRP yet for the mass consumer. So first on the list is a CyberPower PC featuring a AMD Ryzen 3 3100, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and NVIDIA GeForce 1030 with 1 terabyte hard drive space and a 240 gigabyte SSD. Now, the one thing about all these systems are there's going to be drawbacks on the RAM, because in order to get a better graphics card, which is what I looked for, most of your gaming performance and performance from a PC will come from the graphics card. So I mainly wanted to focus on that. So the drawback was not having 16 gigs of RAM, which you can always add a stick of RAM into the PC later. It takes like 2 seconds to add it in. If you're willing to do it or not, that's up to you. But a GT 1030, I remember these things during the pandemic used to cost like $300, $400, and then I think they came back down sort of, but still pretty good graphics card for what it is. You're not gonna be playing like extremely high settings on it, but it's gonna be good for low tier gamers. Gamers that just play like League of Legends, or some non-competitive FPS games. Later on the list, at number one, number two, you'll be getting into those higher range FPS games that you can play, such as like more graphically intensive, the Warzone. Um, Maybe you're gonna play like Assassin's Creed or any of these more visually intensive and graphical intensive games. Top two PCs will be way better than the beginning of this. And the one thing about pre-builds which I still don't like is the amount of money they still spend in RGB rather than the actual PC itself. Although this does come with a mouse and a keyboard for in the bundle, and is only $650. So this is the top $700 pre-built PCs in 2021. And this one does fit that bill for a low tier gamer trying to play some games, just get into gaming a little bit, and then down the line they'll upgrade later. But this is still a pretty good price for what you're getting. But let's move on to number 4. And on number 4, we have another CyberPower PC, and this is featuring the same AMD Ryzen 3 3100. AMD came out with these budget CPUs, which was the 3100 and the 3300X. I believe the 3300X is still out of stock because that um, CPU everyone wanted to buy, and I think the 3100 was actually out of stock as well. But you know, it happens. So all these pre-builds have it. So that's really nice to know. Featuring 8 gigs of RAM as usual, and instead of a GT 1030, we have the RX 560. Now I don't know if this is the 4 gigabyte model or 2 gigabyte model. From what I read, I think this might be the 2 gigabyte model, but I hope it's the 4 because the 4 gigabyte model is way better. Let me see. Yeah, graphics just says RX 560. So I'm going to assume it's the 4 gigabyte model because that's the one I have in my PC. And I know in pre-builts, graphics cards may be like the lower end kind of quality ones, but they're still an RX 560. I have an RX 560 in my system, and I've been playing games like Valorant, Warzone, um, Apex I've played, and I get around 60 FPS on low qualities. Low quality textures, I can push it up to medium if I wanted to. Although the pricing of this is $750, so you are going $50 over. And the only reason I priced this one above the GC 1030 is because it does perform better in games by like 10 FPS or a little bit compared to the GT 1030. But the pricing difference is kind of extreme. You do get 500 gigabytes of solid state storage, which is better, but you still lose a little bit of storage compared to the number 5 on this list. But I like the overall combo setup for the graphics card. I'm mainly focusing on the graphics cards in these PCs and what they're paired with. So down the line, I say this one is number 4 if you're willing to pay for the price. So now let's go on to number 3. Number 3 on this list is going to be the Cyberpower PC again, featuring the same 3100 CPU, 8 gigs of RAM, but now has not only around 1 terabyte hard drive space and 240 gigabyte SSD, but an RX 570. So we are going increasing up the graphics card tier list. This graphics card is actually higher than the one I have, so increased performance in that, and also comes with a mouse and a keyboard. So all for $650. So it is a better bang for the buck deal because you're getting a better graphics card and you're getting more storage than number 4. In fact, I actually want to put number 4 as number 5, but I can't really because the graphics card is a little bit better. The pricing of this PC is pretty good, $50 under budget. The 8 gigabytes of RAM, you can always upgrade down the line anyway to 16. 16 is the sweet spot, but because you're trying to get the best graphics card and CPU combo, there's going to be drawbacks that all places do as well. But this one deserves a number 3 spot of 2021 because a lot of people go to Best Buy or Amazon, and Best Buy is usually the place that a lot of people look for pre-builds because it's Best Buy and they're all techs and all that, and people feel more comfortable buying it from them than say Amazon because they don't know what the specs are, they don't know what it means, so they go to Best Buy and they ask someone and then they help them. Now moving on to the top 2, which I believe are probably the best pre-builds I've seen for this $700 price range, which is insane because these cards and these PCs they have been just overpriced for so long. The cards should be around like $180, like around that, and they now cost like $200, $300. So at least during pandemic, which we still are in pandemic, but peak of pandemic, this was like really insane to get your hands on. And this is surprisingly an HP Pavilion desktop with an AMD Ryzen 3. I have no idea if that's a Ryzen 3 3100. Um, it's more of an honorable mention, but let me see. Oh, a 4300G, which is actually pretty good because that is a pretty good processor for something like this. Featuring a graphics card of AMD Radeon RX 550. So that is a discrete GPU. Oh, not a discrete GPU, sorry. A GPU, an RX 550, which came out after Polaris, which was the 570 and the 580 and the 590. This is AMD's RDNA 1. Wait, no, RDNA 1 was the other one. This is RDNA 1. Yeah. I'm stupid, sorry. This is RDNA 1, which is AMD's first Navi-based GPU, and it has amazing performance. You're definitely going to be performing better in games compared to the third PC place, the fourth and the fifth one. RX 550 features 4 gigabytes of onboard VRAM. If this one has that model in, I'll go to Amazon and show you if they have this exact one and see it's really real about specs are in here. And yeah, 4300G. Honestly, getting a 550 in a PC is super hard. I don't even think I've seen one in a PC, a pre-built, at least on Amazon or Best Buy in a long time. So this one seems pretty good, although I do not like how the airflow works in this case. It's because it's like a box. Assuming that passive air goes through this vent, heat is exhausted into the back. Now, passive air cooling on these low end components is fine, but I really would like to see a little bit better design of the case. But this is from HP, which I never thought HP would actually be on this list. $650, you're getting an RX 550, which is way better than a 570 or GT 1030. And 8 gigabytes of memory is going to be the drawback on it, obviously. Now, moving on to number 1 PC, which honestly, hands down, is probably the best one that you should buy, and it's from Amazon. So let's take a look at this. For $701, you get an i3-10100. Now, obviously, I felt like the AMD Ryzen 3100 might have been better in this situation, but it's still a 10th gen Intel core, so you're gonna have discrete graphics, 8 gigabytes of DDR4, a 256 gigabyte NVMe drive, so no SSD. We're talking about NVMe drive speeds. That's really nice to have, and Windows 10 included, mouse and keyboard. Um, yes, you're only getting 256 gigs of storage, but you can always upgrade storage down the line. So that's really nice to have, especially an NVMe drive and a pre-built at $700. So you're maxing out your budget here. Two fans, that's going to be the 1650 Super. Yes, you heard me, a GTX 1650 Super and a pre-built, which is probably the best graphics card I've seen bundled in a pre-built in a very long time. So it's Amazon's choice. Obviously, I didn't really go off of that. I actually looked at the specs, and the 1650 Super was actually the card I was supposed to buy for my PC, but since pandemic hit, I couldn't buy it. So I was stuck with my RX 560. But at the time of what it should have been, the pricing for GTX 1650 Super is around $180, I believe, because it was newer than the 1650. And there's a reason why a lot of people have this in their DIY PC builds and lower end to mid tier kind of um PCs. This is, I wouldn't call this mid tier, more like low tier, going on to mid tier. But 1650 Super would definitely get you into those FPS intensive games, competitive. So if you want to play Apex at a little bit higher settings and Call of Duty at a little higher settings, and still maintaining a lot of FPS, this card will definitely be the bang for the buck. $700 flat, a little bit over, but still, it's better than all these PCs on this list because of the price, utilizing all of the budget, and also just packing in a 1650 Super, which is insane because I haven't seen a 1650 Super at least in a pre-built, because companies like to charge a lot more for putting an RX 570 or a GT 1030 in. But this one, featuring a full 4 gigabyte, it actually specifies 4 gigabyte model GTX 1650 Super, so you're getting a legitimate 1650 Super and not shaved down version, which is really nice. So this is why it comes in at number one. The graphics card will be the one that will push the FPS. So if you're gaming, streaming or anything, this PC will definitely be enough for you to start off with. This is just all around just amazing for price. And this is the PC part picker list that I put together. This is featuring an Intel i3-10100F. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a Ryzen 3 3100 or a 3300X because they're all out of stock, and or they cost $300 where they should be costing around 100 something dollars. So that was a bummer, but still Intel. So they're not the best of the best, but it will work because they're always in stock. Chose the ASRock B560 Micro ATX, so it's going to be smaller than ATX, and it's $112. We're featuring two 8 gigabyte DIMMs of 3600 CL16 memory, 16 gigabytes. So that's an upgrade from the first the first list PC pre-built. And we also upgraded the storage to a Western Digital Blue 1 terabyte NVMe drive, so you're gonna get a lot more space than top tier pre-built from Amazon. Now with the graphics card issue, 1650, 1660 Super, they're all out of stock. You can't find them anywhere. They cost $400, $500 to get on eBay. So I only listed it as 160 if you could get it at 160. Probably not. You might get it at like $200. So this would increase the list above $700. So the DIY market is still in shambles for graphics cards. So getting a pre-built is going to be the way to go, especially when you're getting a full 1650 Super 4 gigabyte model for that price. Whereas one on eBay or something else would be going for like $250, $300. The PC case we choose was the Cooler Master NR400. case, $60. It features a mesh kind of front panel, which I really like. Features a fan in the back. It does have a hard drive bay on the top, which is kind of weird. For cable management, it's probably not going to be the best because, if you look at it, there's not a lot of space for it to begin with. So there's a lot of other cases you can choose at this point as well. I went with a 500 gigabyte, no, 500 watt 80 plus bronze certified power supply, $54 on Amazon with Amazon Prime as well. So definitely way more than what the system actually is going to use, but it's still good to have. The only thing I'll change about this list is maybe put in the Ryzen 3 3100. You can go with a Ryzen 3 3200G, but you don't need a discrete graphics card. Discrete graphics when you have a graphics card in the PCIe slot. So that's why I chose the i3 10100F without the discrete graphics card in it. So it all comes out to around $680. Although take with a grain of salt that this price is not legitimate, and this is just what the MSRP of our GTX 1650 Super would be if the market wasn't where it was right now. But anyway, you're getting the best money probably with that HP PC pre-built, which is kind of weird because I would always think that CyberPower or someone would have a better one. They probably do. I might have just missed it. But from Amazon, $700. I mean, you can't really beat it. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. It means a lot. Anyway, peace out.